If you're a man over 60, you need to hear this. The fruit you eat for breakfast, yes, the one you've always believed was good for your health, could be the very thing killing your erections. Quietly, consistently, day after day. You might think you're starting your morning the healthy way, but inside your body, something very different is happening. Blood flow is weakening, testosterone is sinking, and your ability to perform as a man? It's slipping further away without you even realizing why. I'm Dr. Mohit Kara. For over 30 years, I've helped men restore their sexual health naturally. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to take back what aging and misinformation have tried to steal. Because what I'm about to reveal isn't just about fruit, it's about truth. The truth about 7 specific fruits you must avoid in the morning if you want to protect your erections, your energy, and your confidence. You've probably never been warned about these fruits. In fact, most men think they're helping themselves. But the science tells another story. And once you understand what's really going on, you'll never look at your breakfast the same way again. So stay with me, because the 5th fruit on this list, it's in nearly every household, and it's doing more harm than you can imagine. Let's talk about the truth behind your plate, and how to reclaim the strength you were born with. Before we dive in, if you care about protecting your manhood and want more real, no-nonsense health advice made specifically for men over 60, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell. I share tips that could change the way you age and how you perform. And if this video speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0, so I know how to make this even more helpful for you. All right, let's get into it. The very first fruit you need to watch out for, especially if you're over 60 and serious about restoring strong, reliable erections, is one that's probably sitting on your kitchen counter right now. It's quick, it's convenient, and it's been labeled healthy for decades. But for your sexual health, it could be doing more harm than good. I'm talking about bananas, especially the overripe ones. Fruit 1. Bananas, especially overripe. I'll be honest with you, this one was hard for me. For most of my life, I thought bananas were the perfect breakfast food. Quick, easy, packed with potassium. But what I didn't know, and what many men over 60 still don't realize, is that bananas, especially when they're soft and spotted, could be quietly destroying their ability to get and stay hard. Here's what's happening under the surface. As bananas ripen, their sugar content increases dramatically. That soft, sweet banana you toss into your cereal or smoothie is flooding your bloodstream with fast-digesting sugars. And when that happens first thing in the morning, it triggers a sharp rise in insulin. For older men, this is a problem because insulin is like a hormonal bully. It suppresses testosterone, disrupts nitric oxide production, and inflames the blood vessels your penis relies on for strong erections. So you might think you're fueling your body, but what you're really doing is starving your performance. The worst part is, the damage doesn't show up right away. It's slow, quiet. Maybe one morning you don't wake up as hard. Then it happens again. Eventually, you start believing this is just what happens with age. But it's not. It's breakfast. If you absolutely love bananas, here's my advice. Never eat them alone, and never on an empty stomach. If you must have one, eat it later in the day and pair it with protein or healthy fat to slow the sugar hit. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for hormonal chaos that your body no longer recovers from the way it used to. Now, if you thought bananas were bad, wait until you hear about the next fruit. It's tiny, sweet, and looks innocent enough, but it's one of the worst offenders when it comes to silently draining blood flow from your manhood. If you're still watching, and this is opening your eyes to what might be silently affecting your health, type the number 1 in the comments to let me know you're with me. Now, let's move on to the second fruit you need to watch out for. Fruit 2. Grapes. Grapes were always one of those fruits I used to snack on without a second thought. I'd grab a handful right out of the fridge, thinking I was making a smart, healthy choice. And for years, I never questioned it. But what I later learned, both as a doctor and as a man in my 60s, changed the way I look at those little purple snacks forever. Here's the truth. Grapes are incredibly high in natural sugars, especially for their size. They may be small, but they're concentrated, and because they're mostly water and sugar, they digest fast. That means when you eat them first thing in the morning, on an empty stomach, they hit your bloodstream like a wave, spiking your blood sugar in minutes. And when blood sugar spikes, insulin comes rushing in. That's the body's way of trying to restore balance. But for men our age, that insulin surge does something else too. It starts to choke off testosterone. It tightens the blood vessels that feed your erection. Over time, that repeated cycle, day after day, leads to a slow but steady erosion of your sexual strength. You may not notice it right away, but one day you'll wonder why your confidence isn't what it used to be, why your mornings feel flat, why you don't respond to stimulation like you used to. And the answer might be sitting in your fruit bowl. If you still enjoy grapes, here's my honest advice. Never eat them first thing in the morning. Save them for later in the day, ideally after a protein-rich meal when your blood sugar is already stabilized. That way, you enjoy them without paying the price in the bedroom. But don't go anywhere yet, because next up is something millions of men drink with breakfast every single day, believing it's a healthy start. But in reality, it's one of the biggest hidden threats to your erections, and it's probably in your refrigerator right now. Fruit. 3. Orange juice. There was a time when a glass of orange juice felt like the perfect way to start the day. I remember pouring it alongside breakfast, thinking I was doing something good for my body. Vitamin C, right? It felt refreshing, light, even energizing. But the truth is, that morning ritual was slowly working against me, and if you're a man over 60 still drinking orange juice with breakfast, there's something you need to know. Orange juice isn't the health drink we were led to believe. It's not a piece of fruit. It's sugar in liquid form. In fact, one glass can have as much sugar as a can of soda. And when you drink it on an empty stomach, there's no fiber, no fat, and no protein to slow that sugar down. It hits your bloodstream instantly, causing a sharp blood sugar spike. And with that spike comes a flood of insulin. Now here's the part that matters. That insulin surge shuts down testosterone production and narrows your blood vessels, including the ones that supply blood to your penis. Over time, this morning healthy habit becomes a daily attack on your erection quality. You may feel alert for an hour or two, but by late morning, you crash. Energy dips, motivation drops, and slowly, your sexual response weakens until you start believing it's just aging. But it's not. It's your breakfast drink. If you really enjoy citrus in the morning, skip the juice and eat a whole orange instead. The fiber will slow absorption and give you the nutrients without the sugar shock. Or better yet, start your day with water and wait until after a protein-rich meal to enjoy any fruit at all. Now, what I'm about to reveal next is going to surprise you even more, because it's a fruit many men believe actually helps with erections. And while that's partly true, when eaten the wrong way, it can silently sabotage your performance without warning. Fruit. 4. Watermelon, in excess. Now this one hits close to home, because like many men, I used to believe watermelon was a superfood for sexual health. I'd heard it contained citrulline, a compound that can help with blood flow. So I'd eat big slices on a hot day, feeling like I was doing my body a favor. But what I didn't realize, and what most men over 60 don't understand, is that when you eat watermelon the wrong way, especially in the morning or in large amounts, it can quietly work against the very thing you're trying to protect. You see, watermelon is over 90% water, but it's also packed with natural sugars and has a high glycemic load. That means when you eat it on an empty stomach, especially at breakfast, it floods your system with sugar, fast, and that rapid sugar rush can lead to the same hormonal chain reaction we've talked about before: insulin spikes, testosterone suppression, and reduced nitric oxide. The very circulation you need for strong erections gets interrupted before your day even begins. Even worse, because watermelon digests so quickly, it doesn't keep you full. That means you're more likely to crash mid-morning, reaching for more sugar, starting a cycle that robs you of energy, mood, and confidence. And the worst part? You may never connect that slow decline in your sexual function to a fruit you thought was helping you. If you enjoy watermelon, I won't tell you to stop altogether, but eat it sparingly and never first thing in the morning. Have a few slices after a protein-based lunch when your blood sugar is stable. That's when your body can handle it best, without paying the hidden price. But if you think watermelon is sneaky, wait until you hear about the next fruit. It's exotic, sweet, and wildly popular, but it may be the most dangerous one yet for your testosterone and long-term erection health. Of course, below is the rewritten version of fruit number 5, mangoes, written in a natural, emotionally grounded tone, including personal insight, a clear explanation of how it harms erections, the best time to eat it if at all, and a strong curiosity-driven transition to the next fruit. If you're still with me and this is helping you see things more clearly, go ahead and type the number 1 in the comments so I know you're here. Now, let's keep going and take a closer look at the 4th fruit that could be quietly working against you. Fruit 5. Mangoes. I'll admit it, mangoes are one of my personal favorites. They're juicy, sweet, and bring back memories of summer mornings. For years, I didn't think twice about slicing one up and enjoying it first thing in the morning. But what I didn't understand at the time was that something so delicious could be quietly working against my body, especially my hormones, my circulation, and yes, my ability to perform as a man. Here's the reality most men don't hear about. Mangoes are incredibly high in fructose, the type of sugar that goes straight to your liver. Now, when you're young and active, your body might handle that sugar spike without too much trouble. But after 60, when insulin sensitivity decreases and your liver may already be under strain, that same fruit can lead to real problems. Excess fructose from mangoes contributes to fatty liver buildup, which is directly linked to lower testosterone levels. And when testosterone drops, so does your ability to get and maintain a strong erection. Not only that, but mango's sugar content spikes your blood glucose, triggering that now familiar insulin response that further suppresses the very hormones and vascular function you need for healthy intimacy. And because it digests quickly, you're left hungry again soon after, setting you up for a roller coaster of energy crashes throughout the day. If you love mangoes as much as I do, here's my advice. Treat them like dessert. Enjoy them in small portions after lunch, when your blood sugar is stable and you've had protein to buffer the impact. But never eat them alone in the morning. That's when the damage hits hardest. Now, what's coming next is one fruit that looks clean, tropical, and refreshing. Yet it may be sabotaging your erections faster than all the rest, especially if you've been eating it thinking it helps your digestion. Fruit 6. Pineapple. Pineapple always felt like a symbol of vitality. Bright, tropical, and full of flavor. For years, I believed it was one of the best fruits I could eat, refreshing, loaded with vitamins, and great for digestion. But what I didn't realize, and what so many men over 60 still don't know, is that pineapple might be quietly undermining your manhood. It doesn't seem dangerous. That's what makes it so deceptive. Here's the truth. Pineapple is extremely high in natural sugar, almost deceptively so. Just 1 cup can deliver more than 16 grams of sugar, with very little fiber to slow it down. When you eat pineapple first thing in the morning, especially by itself, you're setting off a chain reaction. Blood sugar rises quickly, insulin surges, and within minutes, your body is dealing with inflammation, hormonal imbalance, and reduced nitric oxide, the very molecule responsible for creating strong, lasting erections. For older men, this response happens faster and hits harder. Your body doesn't buffer sugar like it used to, which means even healthy-looking choices like pineapple can do silent damage over time. You may not feel the effects today, but over weeks, months, and years, it takes a toll, until one day you realize you're not waking up the same way. Your desire fades, your response weakens, and the link back to pineapple? Almost no one sees it. If you enjoy pineapple, have it after lunch or dinner when your body's more prepared to handle the sugar. Never eat it on an empty stomach, and never make it a breakfast staple. Now, what I'm about to share next might shock you even more, because the final fruit on this list doesn't even look harmful. In fact, it's small, dried, and often marketed as a clean, nutritious snack. But for men over 60, it could be one of the worst things you put in your body. Fruit 7. Dried fruit. Raisins, dates, apricots. If there's one group of fruits that fooled me for years, it's dried fruit. Raisins, dates, apricots, they always seemed like the smarter choice. They were small, easy to carry, and labeled as natural snacks packed with fiber and nutrients. I used to toss a handful into my oatmeal or munch on them with my coffee, thinking I was doing something good for my body. But as I learned more, both as a doctor and as a man walking through this stage of life, I realized that these innocent little fruits might be doing real damage where it matters most. The truth is, dried fruit is nothing more than concentrated sugar in disguise. Once the water is removed, all that's left is a dense hit of fructose with very little fiber to slow the absorption. Your body processes it like candy, especially when eaten first thing in the morning. And for men over 60, that quick sugar rush kicks off a cascade. Insulin spikes, inflammation rises, testosterone dips, and blood flow tightens. You might not feel it right away, but if you've noticed your morning erections becoming weaker or less frequent, this might be one of the hidden reasons why. The problem is, dried fruit is sneaky. It feels healthy. It feels light. But when you eat it alone, especially on an empty stomach, your body responds like you've just eaten a sugary dessert. If you still want to enjoy dried fruit, keep it minimal and eat it after a balanced meal with protein and fat, never as a standalone breakfast item. Now, we've talked about what not to eat, but what if I told you there are actually a few fruits that can do the exact opposite? Fruits that support testosterone, boost nitric oxide, and even help rebuild your erection strength naturally. Let's take a look at those next. 8. What you need to do today. I know this might feel overwhelming, especially if some of these fruits have been part of your daily routine for years. I get it, I was in the same boat. For most of my adult life, I believed I was eating clean. I thought I was doing the right thing, and I never made the connection between what was on my breakfast plate and what was quietly disappearing from my life, my energy, my drive, my ability to respond like I used to. But once I saw the pattern, not just in myself, but in patient after patient, the truth became clear. These so-called healthy breakfast fruits were anything but harmless. They were silently eroding erection quality, day by day, sugar hit by sugar hit. Not with loud warning signs, but with small losses, a little less stamina here, a little more frustration there, and eventually the belief that this is just what aging looks like. It's not. The good news is that you don't have to change everything overnight, but you do need to start. Starting tomorrow morning, clear your breakfast of the 7 fruits we've just covered. Replace them with foods that stabilize blood sugar and support blood flow. Eggs, avocado, berries in moderation, Greek yogurt without added sugar. Drink water first thing, not juice. And most importantly, listen to how your body responds, because it will. You might be surprised by how quickly things begin to change. You might even wake up one morning soon and realize you feel like yourself again. And if you're wondering what foods actually boost erections naturally, don't go anywhere. In the next section, I'll show you the exact fruits that fuel your performance and help restore the kind of strength most men think they've lost forever. 9. Conclusion. So let's bring it all together. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you for listening, for staying curious, and most of all, for caring enough about your health to question what you've always been told. Because the truth is, the 7 fruits we've talked about today, bananas, grapes, orange juice, watermelon, mangoes, pineapple, and dried fruit, they don't come with warning labels. They look innocent. They're even marketed as health foods. But when you're a man over 60, your body doesn't handle sugar like it used to. And what might seem like a harmless breakfast choice can quietly chip away at your hormones, your blood flow, and your ability to feel like yourself in the bedroom. I've seen it happen time and time again, not just in my patients, but in my own life. And I've also seen how quickly things can turn around when you make small, consistent changes. This isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. You're not broken, you're not too old, you're just operating on the wrong information. But now you know better. And that puts you in control. So tomorrow morning, make a different choice. Say no to the sugar-laden fruits. Choose real nourishment instead. Your energy will rise, your focus will return, and your erections, they'll follow. Maybe not overnight, but sooner than you think. And remember, this is just one piece of the puzzle. There are also foods, fruits included, that can actively improve blood flow, boost testosterone, and reignite the spark you thought was fading. I'll be sharing those with you next, because your health, your vitality, and your manhood are worth fighting for. Let's rebuild it, one morning at a time.